Good morning. It's the start of a beautiful day. Well, start your day right with a healthy dose of news, fun, and inspiration. Join us on VOP this morning for the latest news, trending topics, and uplifting stories to set your day on the right vibe. From news and current events to lifestyle and entertainment, you are covered. Showing from 7 to 9 a.m. Monday through Friday on VOP TV. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice. From the views on the street,
we go to bed empty hunger,
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents.
Corruption kills three things that makes a society.
Representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people. The red carpets, awards, the razzmatazz, music, fashion, interviews, and more. Spotlight on Voice of the People Television. Let's feed you with all the juicy stories in the global entertainment space, bringing you the glitz and glamour as it is hot. Stay tuned to Spotlight, 1 p.m. Monday to Friday. Spotlight on VOP TV. Entertainment like never before. Health. All right, good morning to you. Welcome. It's the first day of August, and some will say the day we've been looking out for to see what happens. It's the day set aside for the commencement of the hashtag End Bad Governance protest. Oh, well, before we get into the conversation proper, let's just take you through the regular introductions. I'm Moses Humphrey.
And I'm Fina Okechukwu, talking about regular introductions. Today is first day of August. Some people are planning protest. Some people are actually protesting against the protesters. And all the thing we're talking about in Nigeria this morning is about how to end the hardship Nigerians are passing through, how to put an end to the issue of bad governance in Nigeria and all that, you know. But all the same, a happy new month to you, and I'm happy and also glad to have you watch us today on your screen. It is VOP This Morning, the breakfast show of Voice of the People Television. You're highly welcome.
Well, a beautiful Thursday morning. David Edwin saying, good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, the rest of the world, wherever you're watching us from. Well, interestingly, it's a beautiful day, yes, like I always say, and it's the start of another beautiful new month. And we're hoping that the month gives and grants all of us the best of it, right? This morning, we definitely want to serve you the best way we can, and that's why we would say, stick around, grab a cup of coffee, water, wherever you are, just relax and let's take you through the ride of this awesome broadcasting as served by us. Well, how best do you do that? Just go straight to our YouTube page. If you haven't followed us, click on that follow button and, of course, subscribe to our YouTube page. On YouTube, we are at Voice of the People TV, and on all other social media platforms, we are at VOP TV Live. So let your voice be heard. Yes, let your voice be heard. Let's have your comments come in And, well, maybe for the first time in a long while, send us videos. Let's know what's happening around your area. That way, we can also get involved with you the way we believe we definitely should.
Well, I can tell you exactly what is happening around my area because in preparation for the protest,
yes,
gates are locked. Gates leading to the streets, a lot of gates. And interestingly, for me to come out, I have to go past the police station.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Yes, and there are other roads that lead to the police station, but all the gates were locked. So it was like driving through the maze this morning. You get to a place, the gate is locked, you go back, you go here, the gate is locked, you go back, you go here. You know, that was how it was this morning. And one wouldn't blame them, of course, because the memory of what happened during the hashtag NSAS is still very fresh in the minds of people. So police stations are red zones because, you know, they might be attacked. So for that reason, a lot of stop measures have been put in place. In fact, I still recall that the Kamsalem police station in Obalinde area had a blockage that lasted more than 1 year right after NSAS. You know, nobody could drive. In fact, I think up until now. I think up until now, I don't think vehicles are allowed to drive past the front of the Kamsalem police station in Obalinde. Pedestrians can, but I don't think vehicles can. But anyway, we're getting feelers. Some people are beginning to gather. We'll keep you updated and see how this one pans out. So we'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll be going into the papers.
Good morning. It's the start of a beautiful day. Well, start your day right with a healthy dose of news, fun, and inspiration. Join us on VOP this morning for the latest news, trending topics, and uplifting stories to set your day on the right vibe. From news and current events to lifestyle and entertainment, you are covered. Showing from 7 to 9 a.m. Monday through Friday on VOP TV. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice. Catch up with the latest topics making the buzz, the stories that tick, the trends. Let's let you in on why they are trending. From politics, entertainment, business, lifestyle, and more. Analyzing the trending stories with top eyeballs. Hashtag on Voice of the People Television, giving you an insight to everything and everyone Nigeria is talking about. Showing on VOP TV, 10 p.m. Monday to Friday. Hashtag if it's trending, we bring it on.
Thank you for staying with us. It's still VOP this morning on Voice of the People TV, and we're moving straight down to the front page of the newspaper. But before then, I would like you to know that we have with us in the studio this morning Mr. Lawal Ekundayo, educationist, a farmer, and a public affairs commentator. Good morning, Mr. Lawal.
Good morning.
Good to have you in the studio today.
Yes.
And he will actually help us to analyze the front pages of the national dailies. And this morning, we'll be starting with the Vanguard newspaper, and the banner headline here reads, protesters urged to leave room for dialogue as police deploy assets. And we have riders to be leave room for dialogue, reduce protests to 1 to 3 days at the Borua councils. Falano emphasizes right of citizens to protest. Court restrict Abuja protesters to MKO Abiola Stadium. Police conduct show of force, assure Nigerians of safety. Recover explosive device dropped at Customs FOU wall. Sean calls for anti-hunger protest. SGF tells Nigerians. We firmly support citizens' right to peaceful assembly and protest, according to Action Aid. And above the nameplate, we have window headlines that to be bank recapitalization, foreign investors moving in, according to Cardoso. Bank recapitalization, foreign investors moving in. And that is coming from CBN Governor Cardoso. We can't pay 70,000 minimum wage. That is coming from Gombe government. We can't pay 70,000 minimum wage. And you can get that on page 13 of the Vanguard newspaper. Mother of Ajumogobia's daughter, 3 domestic staff arrested. Mother of Ajumogobia's daughter, 3 domestic staff arrested. And then we have the story of Onyeka Onwenu. Onyeka Onwenu's passing, our mom's last moment by son. Tinubu, wife, Obi Okonji, mourns Onyeka Onwenu. That's on page 7 of the Vanguard newspaper. And we have other headlines. We have a major pictorial there, and that is from FCMB Presents Fact. They have a summit, and that was actually where we got that pictorial from. But just right beneath the better headline, we have all the headlines to be windfall levy. Bankers meet Tinubu for clarifications. Windfall levy. Bankers meet Tinubu for clarification. That's talking about the 50% remittance that bankers have to do at the end of every year to the federal government. Protest. We can't afford another #EndSARS experience. Sowolu, Oyebanji, and that is on page 10 of the Vanguard newspaper. Boko Haram suicide attack kills 19, injures dozens in Borno village. That's on page 30. Opposition reps walk out of plenary over bill to raise ways and means. And that is actually one of our major topic of discussion for today. And we have editorial by Olu Fashion, and that's on page 16 of the Vanguard newspaper. And the headline on sports reads, Paris 2024 Olympics, Team Nigeria in disarray. Controversy over Odili's omission from 100 meters race rage on. Controversy over Odili's omission from 100 meters race rages on. And that's on page 31 of the Vanguard newspaper. These are the headlines that made it to the front, the cover page of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Mr. Lowell, which one of those would you want to react to?
The government said the protesters should leave room for
dialogue.
And now, so they can dialogue with all Nigerians that are protesting. So they have left room for the government, so the government can start dialogue with everybody.
Are all Nigerians protesting? Well, we have actually seen people who are talking about other Nigerians not going out for this protest. So we've also witnessed a counter-protest. You know, people are protesting against protesters. When you say all Nigerians are protesting, I mean, see everyone?
So the government now knows that those who are protesting, they should dialogue with those who are protesting and leave those who are not protesting. They are okay with it. So while you are buying your own rice at 80,000 because you are okay with it, you are not protesting. You get it? Those who are protesting should be allowed to buy their own at 40,000, and you know that is the way it's supposed to go.
Looking at the body language of the government, does it look like there's even a room for this dialogue? The Senate President, the 003 indigene of this country, somewhere where he was doing the NDDC, inauguration of project, he made mention of let those that want to protest, whereas them they will stay and be eating. What do you actually make of that statement?
No, actually, he didn't say that they will stay and be eating. What he was saying that at the protest ground, they will be eating while the others are protesting. You get it? Like something like, it's like you want to go for picnic.
Yeah, but then
it's not a picnic now.
The statement, isn't that a reckless statement?
It's reckless.
He might have meant something different.
It's number 3.
But coming from, yes.
It's number 3 man in the country.
Isn't that reckless?
Yes, now it's reckless. Like your child wants to cry. You want to sit and you'll be watching the child crying. Maybe you didn't go to school. You didn't pay the school fees. The child has not eaten. So the child is crying. You, as a father, you sit down in front of the child, you are eating. So you are directly telling the child openly that you are a very, very bad, you know, a very, very bad father.
Unfortunately, that statement can easily be misconstrued to mean, you know, a different thing.
Yeah, that we don't care. It means no. It means we don't care. It means we don't care. That's the meaning now. That we don't care. That means we'll go there. We'll just be looking at you and be eating as if these people don't know what they are doing. They are wasting their time.
Anyways, it's part of our conversation this morning. We definitely will be touching on all angles when it comes to
and the working out of this opposition. It makes a lot of sense. That means
we'll touch on that one as well.
Yes, that also. Exactly.
I would have loved to get your response on the death of Justice Ajimogobia's daughter, Ari Benchuku, who was said to have been killed in her residence at the Parkview area, Parkview Estate. And the report has it that she just newly hired domestic staff, and she was alone in the house with them, even though there's another report that says she just recently got married. But it was said to be that she was alone in the house with them, and then they saw signs. Well, her body was found outside, but then they saw signs of an attempt to clean up blood from within the house. They talk about domestic staff hiring and then killing those that they were employed to work for. That has been ongoing for some time now. What do you think could be done differently? In fact, I think I recall that there was a time an organization came up with a portal where domestic staffs could register, and so you could track them. Some of these people are not even Nigerians. Some of them come from Benin Republic. Yes. From outside the shores of Nigeria.
Even deep in the village. How do you trace them? You don't even know their village. Some even from Nigeria, they are deep in the village. You get it? So from hand to hand to hand to hand, that's how they
just
got out.
Very recently, there was a conversation as to having them registered. Yeah. I think that conversation held on the floor of the House, having them registered. Do you think that should really be considered?
It will still not work. Even if you have them registered, it will still not work.
So what do you think would work?
See, the reason why they are doing this is what we should first of all try to answer. You get somebody to be confident to kill another person or hurt another person.
You don't think
something must be inside that person that makes the person will be confident enough to do that. You get it? Now, there is hunger. There's poverty.
Should we blame this on hunger, please?
Yes.
Should we blame this on hunger?
See,
you don't think this could be greed, or
no.
maybe
it's happening in developed country. In developed country they have these staffs. You get domestic staff. Some of them don't even see the domestic staff. They come, they clean your house, they go. You don't even see them. You don't even know them.
A lot of them are registered.
No. What I'm saying, in that data, you get it. The registration is beyond you register as a domestic staff. No. The reason for the registration is for government to make sure that your life, you get it, is better. That's why in that area, even when you don't have a job, they pay you. They know areas in which the billing, even the electricity billing, is so low that even the government subsidized.
Oh, well.
So many other things. So you don't have the cost.
To be honest, I disagree with you.
I totally disagree with you as well. You would not want to tell Nigerians that it is hunger. But then, maybe before we get into another paper, I would like you to react to this statement credited to the Gombe state government saying that they can't pay the 70,000 naira minimum wage.
That's it now. I told you yesterday that some people are still receiving 25,000 naira every month as salary.
But you said that was actually in the private sector, not
the private sector.
Now we're looking at this now from the government.
So if now we are having crisis now, some privates cannot afford it. Some people will complain. Some government states or government, parastatal cannot afford it. People will complain. Some people will even they'll be sacked, retrenchment.
But government, the president did say that he will ensure that governors pay the new minimum wage.
How?
I was actually going to ask you, how do you think
is he going to,
make that happen?
I don't know, is he going to force them? They said they don't have money.
But they generate fund.
Can't it be taken from the FARC allocation?
That is another problem. Because when you take it, if you overstretch the FARC, it will come back to the people.
How?
Because he will have to tax. He will have to tax to get more money to be able to send to the states. You get it? So the whole thing is coming back indirectly to the people, hardship again.
But now Gombe State say they don't have money to pay the workers 70,000 minimum wage, but they are spending like 43 billion naira in building the government or the governor's lodge. Isn't that a misplaced priority now?
See, they are still the chief executive of their states. You get it? Just like the federal government itself is doing whatever it likes and is telling that it can't pay 120,000. And some people are saying that, but you have more money now. You remove subsidy and things like that, so you should have more money to pay. And they said they don't have to pay. And from that area too, the government is buying something like a new private jet and buying SUVs and buying all that and that for, you know.
Let's talk about the body language. Let's talk about the body language of the government. If the government is earmarking billions of naira for renovation of a building and saying on one hand again, on another hand, that they can't pay 70,000, don't you think that's a bit not so fair on the people?
There's a disconnection now.
All right, let's get to other papers quickly. We're going to go straight to the Guardian newspaper, where the banner headline here reads, Hunger Protest. Anxiety in states as protesters insist ignore government's appeals. All right, other headlines there. Adamawa denies receiving 20 trucks of grains from FG. Adamawa denies receiving 20 trucks of grains from FG. Tributes for elegant stallion Owenu as beats stops at 72. Amid 30 trillion naira probe, NAS amends CBN's act to raise Ways and Means loans to federal government. Court restricts protesters to 4 centers in Ogun State. Well, these are the headlines right there. Okay, there's one other headline that I did not pick. Grounded Arid fleet threatens Chevron's oil production. Well, these are the headlines right there at the front page of the Guardian newspaper. Mr. Lawal, which of these would you want to react to?
So, this Adamawa said they don't receive any 20 trucks of rice.
Sure,
The government said they've distributed 20 trucks of rice. So we don't know what is actually happening. Is there somebody lying there, or maybe there's a blockage in the road there where the rice is coming from? We don't know. You get it? Now, and then we are talking about rice, as if rice is everything that, our worry in Nigeria. I don't know why we keep talking about rice. In Europe, the rice is not even part of their staple food. Rice is the Asian staple food. Just like here, we have something like gari and ba and fura as our staple food. So now we talk about rice as if that is the solution to the problem of Nigeria. When they distribute 20 trucks of rice and they have that 20 truck of rice, then they keep quiet and that is that.
We'll talk
Are we
about
going to be having that 20 truck of rice every month? And where the rice is coming? Where is it coming from?
Because
I know
that's
Nigeria is
actually
not
the
planting
question,
enough.
because this administration have actually come up to say that our reserves are empty. So where are we getting these grains that were being shipped or being shared by?
And there's no video of trucks of rice flowing from somewhere to states. We don't have a video, we don't have press going there to show us all these things. Federal government just want saying it. There should be, truck is a very big, vehicle now. It's a very big vehicle. About 18 or 22 tires. You get it? And you have 20 going to a state. You know that the whole road will be, in fact, everybody will see the whole road will be blocked. The road to that state will be congested because of that truckload of rice coming to that area. But we don't see any video, we don't see any picture, we don't see any press, talking about where they see it, and then they are telling us that there's rice going to this state. That's why Adamawa is denying his own to his people. See, don't come to me because I have not seen any rice before the people begin to focus on the governor has eaten the rice.
All right, would that be, would you want to respond to any other headline from The Guardian before we move to another paper quickly?
And the restriction, is it possible to restrict a protester to a particular
We'll come back to that conversation. I know that a lot of people are itching to talk about that.
Yeah.
Now let's quickly get to the Punch. Now, right underneath the banner headline of the Punch, we have tension. Food prices rise as hunger protest begins today. Presidency NAS governors beg protesters as Nigerians rush to stock foodstuff. Police seize protest materials in FCT. Lagos CP insists on court order on rally routes. All right. Well, on top of the nameplate, CBN advances. Opposition OPS oppose higher borrowing limits for FG. Students may pay 80,000 naira electricity fee in varsities, VC's panel. Forex tax, Tinubu bank chiefs in closed door meeting. All right, going further down, we have FG withholds 4.9 billion naira Unity Schools meals subsidy. Akpabio, Oshomole, Shaibu to lead APC campaign in Edo. And then right underneath the pictorial, we have reps direct NNPC to suspend crude for loan deal. Two others held for Justice Ajimagobia's daughter's murder. All right then. Imported vaccine lingers as cholera cases hit 4,809 actually. And we thought that had been handled and, dealt with. But 4,809 cases. Oh my goodness. And with the increase in cases, we will have increase in death as well. Quite an unfortunate one. Well, these are the headlines from the Punch. Would you want to respond to any very quickly?
You are begging protesters.
Okay.
Not to protest.
I have one.
I
was actually hoping you would talk about the school, the fact that students will...
Exactly.
Yes. Go ahead.
The students now may pay 80,000 naira electricity fees in varsities, and this is actually coming from VC's panel.
Maybe they are giving them loan. I mean, the student loan. So they'll go and get the loan to pay electricity bill. They'll get the loan to pay high cost of rice.
Is that coming from the side of
They'll get the loan to pay what again for whatever. You get it? That keep rising up, and eventually they'll become debtor. They will never be able to pay back that loan for the rest of their lives. That's why we keep saying all these things. That I don't know what economic value these things, this student loan is going to bring. It's going to cause a lot of issues. Because now the varsities will say you are making money. There's an avenue for you to get a loan. You get money now. They already get a loan. Don't worry, we'll get it out of them. And before you know, students will have over 50 million, 100 million naira loan they borrowed because they want to go to school. How would they pay back?
Interesting question. How would they pay back?
Yes, how would they pay back? 80,000 naira. You see now, the varsity is increasing. Where the varsity is supposed to even be subsidizing. You get? Be subsidizing. What do we go to school to do anyway? What do we go to school to do? I believe the school is supposed to be something to make an individual fit very well into a society so that you can contribute your own development, your own quota, what you have learned to development of that society. But they come out angry, angry. They have this hatred towards the society. They have this selfishness when they get to the society. Why? Because they know what they went through when they were at school.
Okay.
Interesting times. There's also this headline I want you to react to. Reps direct NNPCL to suspend crude for loan deal. What do you make of this directive from the reps?
See, we keep having crisis and crisis. You get, if you want to buy fuel now, I think some areas they sell it for 1,000 plus. 1,000 plus now.
A liter?
Yes. Last year, early last year was 160 something naira. The second year we are talking about 1,000 plus. What explanation does the government want to give? We have Ministry of Petroleum, for God's sake. We have Ministry of Petroleum. And Nigeria is not the only country in the world. Nigeria is not the only country producing oil exploration. You get it? So why are we the only one having this crisis out of all the others? We are the only one in OPEC that is going through this crisis.
Well, the crude for loan deal has some will say it will further impoverish Nigeria because we're giving out the crude, we're getting loans, and then what we get back. Sometimes we only get PMS from it. The other things that come from crude is taken away. Anyway, let's leave that conversation for another time. We'll take a break now as we wrap up the newspaper review. When we come back, we'll be talking about the protest, of course. The protest that is to commence today. Please remind me, what time again? Was there a time fix?
Some people say it's 8. Some people say it's 8 a.m. to 3 p.m.
It's past 7 a.m. But I think the deadline is either 4 p.m. or 6 p.m.
In Ogun, it was 8 to 3.
In Ogun State?
Yeah, that was what it court says.
Okay.
8 to 3.
Oh, well. We'll keep an eye on that one as we have our correspondents on the streets of Lagos. And we'll let you know how things are panning out. Stay with us. We'll be diving into that conversation as we get into the nitty-gritty of it right now on the show. Stay with us.
Welcome back. It's still VOP this morning on Voice of the People TV. Nigerians begins nationwide protest over economic hardship and surging inflation, government policies that have devalued the naira, and bad governance. President Bola Tinubu, who promised renewed hope upon taking office, faces criticism as the cost of living crisis deepens. A few hours before the planned 10-day hunger protest, the federal government took several steps to prevent the demonstration from taking place. Various groups and individuals, including religious bodies and former Niger Delta freedom fighter Asari Dokubo, urged the protest organizers to reconsider, fearing it could be hijacked by those with malicious intent. Despite government effort to contain the protest by suggesting confined spaces to rallies, organizers remain determined to voice their grievances publicly. And we have with us in the studio this morning, still with us here is Mr. Lawale Kundayo, whom I told us is an educationist, a farmer, and also a public affairs analyst. And we'll be having Mr. Chukuma Okoro, who is a journalist and a public affairs analyst, also join us virtually. Also, we will also have Mr. Sheson Okoade, a chartered accountant, chartered tax professional, and chartered transport administrator. These men will help x-ray this wonderful topic for us this morning. Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning, Mr. Chukuma.
Yeah. Good morning, Fina.
Yeah, good to have you in today's show.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Mr. Shisono Kwade, are you there?
It's not there yet. Only Chukuma.
Okay, that's a good one. Mr. Chukuma, we have the protest. Today is the 1st of August. The day Nigerians are saying, no, we want to start the 100 days protest for the government to hear our voice as regards the hardship and the economic challenges that Nigerians are actually having. How is this protest happening? Have you started in your area to start with? What's happening in Abia State?
Well, sorry, I'm not in Abia State. I'm in Enugu State.
Okay, so how is Enugu this morning?
Enugu is calm. Enugu is calm. I think the set time for the protest is 8 o'clock, and people are asked to gather at the Opera Square, more like the Independence
Layout.
Square.
Okay.
Yes, Independence layout area of Enugu State. So probably when I'm done with this program, I will step out to see how the the organizers were able to mobilize the people of Enugu State. But for now, my area is very calm.
Very quickly.
People are going about. Very quickly. Are open around the area too.
Very quickly. Now that brings a question to mind, because if you're asking people to gather in Lagos, for example, processions have been prohibited. All right. Now, if processions are prohibited and people have been asked to gather at a certain place, and if transportation is not made available, how will people get to those places? If people start to walk on the road, proceeding to the place, will they be arrested for procession?
You see, Moses, I think it's part of the larger efforts of the government to ensure that this protest doesn't take place. But overall, I think what is happening in Nigeria, it's good. It's good to the extent that we are moving towards a direction, an inevitable direction that is going to cause change for us. You know, one thing I like about science is that science is actually universal. It's universal in the sense that the principles apply across board, you know, both in the science and even in the social sciences. What brings me to this assertion is the fact that Isaac Newton's third law of motion, you know, that action and reaction are equal and opposite, is coming to life. It's coming to life because the actions of our leaders is also bringing a counter action from the followers. That is exactly what is happening. We see a government that is becoming more repressive, a government that is becoming more unresponsive, a government that is becoming more irresponsible, and on the flip side of it, we see a citizenry that is becoming more active, a citizenry that is becoming more assertive in their demands, a citizenry that is becoming more activist in their actions, both in intent and action. So what happens at the end of the day is that the will of the people will always take place. It's overriding. That is what happens in every part of the world. And why I say that I'm happy about what is happening is because if you look at our circumstances, it is not quite different from what caused revolutions in the other parts of the world. Let me give you France, for instance. France, what caused the revolution? Poor crop yield, hunger, and taxation. What caused the crisis or the revolution in Russia? Because the government had become so irresponsible and unresponsive that they did not even take care of the fact that the Russian military was losing fronts against the Germans. Yes. Hunger was part of it too. And the whole thing culminated in the effort of the citizens to take back their country. That is what is happening here. We have a government that is oblivious of the sufferings of the people. We have a government that is becoming more arrogant by the day. Look at the characters that define our institutions of government. Look at the presidency. The presidency doesn't care. While people are turning out solutions, the presidency is looking for ways to suppress and repress the people. We have a Senate president that is very careless in his comments, that is very unconcerned. A Senate president in this time that is fiddling while the country is burning. He is asking us to go and protest, that even as we protest, that he will be eaten with his colleagues. We have a House of Representatives that the speaker is more like missing in action. I can't even remember
Don't you think that the Senate president was
I do remember that his name is Abbas. We have the deputy Senate president. Yes, we have a deputy speaker of the House of Representatives, Benjamin Kalu, who is being used by the government, by the institutions of state to go against the people. Look at what happened.
Don't you think?
When they changed the national anthem.
Don't you think that the statement of Godswill Akpabio might have been misconstrued?
Moses, anyhow you like to interpret it, there is no misconstruction there.
Let's listen to him. Let's listen to him, actually. Let's take a listen.
So the whispers of our nation is already receiving attention. The economic challenges are known by the president because all of us feel the impact of what is happening now. But we are aware that it will be for a short while. The specific issues faced by the Niger Delta must be contained in that communique because we are going to make it available to Mr. President. The ones that need legislation will come to us. The ones that need intervention will go to NDDC. The ones that need more money will go to the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And I assure you that those issues will be addressed. MD, I want to thank you for what you said. You said, we are not interested in regime change. Let us own this government. Those who want to protest can protest, but let us be there eating. Am I right? I must thank Niger Delta. So, in conclusion, we acknowledge the fact that the impact of oil and gas activities in our region has done immeasurable damage to our people. It reshaped our lives, it reshaped our economy, it reshaped our environment. So we must expedite action to address those concomitant socio-economic issues that have arisen as a consequence. Be rest assured that the Tinubu administration will release the necessary funds for critical projects in the Niger Delta region and will ensure that the needs of our people and our dreams are realized.
I'll play that one. Okay, there you go. Those were his words. Now,
obviously, it was not misconstrued. Obviously, it was not misconstrued.
No, it wasn't.
I mean, that statement, how very insensitive can that statement be at the time like this for Nigerians?
David, he said it clearly. Those who want to protest can go on and protest. Why we will be there? The operational word there is there. The operational word there is there. Why will be there? Eating where? Let us take this government. Let us take this government. We don't want regime change. Nobody is asking for regime change. What Nigerians are asking for is for the government to protect it and provide for it. That's all.
So, in your opinion,
if you look at
in your opinion, sorry to interrupt you again. In your opinion, the there he meant is in government, right? If I understand it clearly.
Sorry, Moses, I didn't get that.
In your opinion, the there, we will be there eating, means in government, in power.
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely. That's what he meant.
Okay.
And you see, I'm sort of disappointed with the person of Godswill Akpabio. Godswill Akpabio happens to be my old boy. We finished from the same university, University of Calabar. And you know, there is one thing that defines graduates of the University of Calabar. It is what we call the Aluta. We have the Aluta spirit. We are our brother's keepers. We are very, very sensitive to the issues of suffering because we call ourselves the Malabite. The issue of Malabite came up when there was so much suffering in the beginning years of the University of Calabar. So the Christian students then, Malabites, because there was so much suffering in Republic in Malabo. And Malabo is just like 50 miles away as the crow flies from Calabar to that Malabo. So the suffering was so much there. And in 1976, 77, 78, that was the kind of suffering that happened in the University of Calabar. So that acronym, that nomenclature, Malabites, became synonymous with suffering and support the Aluta spirit of Malabites. You don't toy with us. So I'm kind of disappointed that Akpabio is coming out this way. Akpabio was Minister of Niger Delta. Over the years, we have more than 30 trillion naira voted to NDDC. Yet, it is the most backward part of this country.
We have to bring this conversation now to the table here, where we have Mr. Lawale Kundai. Now, this present administration have actually asked Nigerians to please calm down, and they were talking about dialogue. But just yesterday, we heard that there was an issue in the National Assembly, representative members now, where the issue of increment of ways and means actually came up. Is that also part of the dialogue that Nigerians actually should be expecting from this present administration?
That's why the the Senate president said we will be there eating and drinking.
Remember that last administration?
So they are disconnecting.
I was going to say something.
They are disconnecting from that. We live in a country, within a country. So why you get it? You are in the country, protesting and suffering. We will be in a small country within the country.
Table manners. Observing table manners.
Yeah, eating and drinking.
You don't talk while you eat.
So we will be there within our own small country in the country, eating and drinking. You get what I'm saying? So that is what they are doing there. That's why some of them walk out. That no, this cannot go on.
We'll talk about that one really. We'll go deeper into that conversation, the increase in the ways and means. But let's also get another virtual guest join the conversation. We have Sheson Okwade, who is a chartered accountant, tax professional, and transport administrator. Well, he joins us virtually. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Moses. Good morning, Fina. Good morning, David. And to my fellow panelists and all our listeners across the world.
I know that ordinarily you would be here in the studio, but I do believe that it's trying to observe the outcome of things that kept you indoors. And would you be going to work later today? Because I know you run your own business. Are you afraid that there might be a breakdown in law and order?
Thank you very much, Moses. You see, part of the ethics that we put together in our organization is safety first. So what we told my staff, which we sent out a mail yesterday, is that today should be observed at possibly sit at home, that we can amount to be part of our own contribution to the protest. So while you claim to observe things at home, let's kind of play it down. Because whatever we're going to do today may not really have too much impact on us if you have to lose maybe one or two of our staff in the process of coming to office. So today, I'm not really going to office. Our office is closed because we need, part of the promises we gave to our staff is safety and their welfare. So even if you are not increasing their salary, we should be able to protect them and be sensitive to the plight. In as much as we regard this as peaceful protest, we all know the antecedents that we've had in time past. There are some people that will bring in too much emotion, and before you know it, exchange of little words might aggravate into what will turn out to be a chaos. It's always peaceful at the beginning, but the end you cannot justify. And that's the reason why we just have to stay back today. We resume back tomorrow if we observe the issue of things.
All right, Mr. Sheson, I'm going to stay with you. On one part, government is calling for dialogue with the protesters. And on the other part, it seems like the same government is doing something else. Now, let's take it to the judiciary. Interestingly, for the first time in a very long while, the courts are making statements and pronouncements of where protesters are to gather. This never happened in 2012. What do you make of all of this move by the judiciary? Because obviously what this is telling Nigerians is that the judiciary seems to have a particular backing rather than talk about the security of the people. What do you make of all of this?
Yeah, David, I will say that the reason the Attorney General gave for restricting people is that they don't have the capacity to actually monitor the activities that will go on today.
Is that his job?
Some of us consider.
Is that his job?
Yeah, that's the reason presented before the judge, which granted them that restriction to say in Lagos you have two places, which some of us have asked the question. You are saying Peace Park at K2 and Freedom Park at Ojota. So how will people who, because you've actually alluded that there should be protest, but what are you doing to other people in Aja, in Lekki, in Badagry, in Abule Egba? You know, I'm talking of Lagos where we reside, in Bega, you know, and some other areas. Are you encouraging them to move from that place to that area? In the process of movement, if they decide to do one or two things, all becomes of them. So we feel that if indeed you want to give the preference to say, we observe is your right, you must protect, you must prepare for the whole thing. Like they said, it should just be two places. I saw yesterday a particular station having a coverage of the Lekki toll gate, where you have people stationed. There are some other strategic places. So if you have people stationed at some specific areas, which are the police and the security agency, what stops you of allowing those people to express their feeling and protect those protesters? Because this the question I keep asking myself. Don't forget, 2 days ago there was a protest against protest, and people were protected, and it was not chaotic. We didn't hear of anything that happened. So we cannot be moving from two sides of the coin and thinking that people will not react. Truth be told, people like us feel that the government is really not too sensitive. I saw my brother, Honorable Okoro, reacting to Akpabio's statement. I think our leaders should be more careful in some of their utterances. Where we are today was one of the statements made by Mr. President, which was not part of the speech. I think the reason why you see some of these leaders being given speech to read is for you not to commit blunders that will actually aggravate the annoyance of the people. How can the president, the Senate president, the third man of the country, be telling us that let those that want to protest, protest? We will sit here and be eating and whining and dining. And I can tell you that is not part of the speech. When you try as much as possible to make jest of the people that you claim you are leading, I'm sure he will come out a few days to apologize on this if he had that moral right to do that. But the truth is, they should adhere. That's why you must study the script they will give to you. Before you, if there's anything you need to reject, adhere to it. Because some of these people seems not, in their inner man, not sensitive to the plight of the citizen. So even if they write script for you, read it for us. And let's just have it that you are doing something, not you making mockery. It's becoming too much of our Senate president, making mockery of the citizen that they claim to lead. And it's really not too good on our own part, if you ask me.
Well, I wanted to allow you chime in on the statement of Akpabio plus some of the non-state actors as regarding this protest. But then I'm going to just allow you hold your thoughts a bit while we still come back to the in-house studio guest. Well, joining us presently is Ms. Comrade Ayoyinka Oni, who is a unionist. And of course, he would join us in this conversation while we move on. A very good morning to you, Mr. Ayoyinka. Now, right now, the courts have made declaration. And as it stands, it looks a bit more like the protection of the citizenry seem to be, quote unquote, the concerns of the court. For the first time, like I said earlier, in a long while, we're having statements made by the court as regarding a protest. What do you make of this concerning as regarding also the protection of the lives of the protesters?
Well, thank you for having me. To state it clearly, the court is not the first time that the government tried to use them to kind of prevent or probably channel the protest towards the direction that they want. If you remember NLC, there's usually no NLC protest that they don't bring a court order trying to prevent them from protesting. And the same thing was done this time around. But this time around, they saw that there's nothing that they can do to stop the protest. So what they try to do is to try to put the protest in some specific location. And we have said that the right to assemble and the right to demand for betterment of society is the fundamental human right of every Nigerian across all the 774 local governments in this country. If people decide to protest at Ikotun, Alimosho, Airport Road, wherever they are today, it is their right. And it's the right for the government to protect them. But they try to push the people into one location. And another mistake they made, which many of our lawyers have responded, is that you don't take people to court without serving them. All the people that their name was listed on that court papers, they never saw any order, they never saw any court paper, they were not informed. The first place they saw it was on Vanguard, that they have been taken to court and have been served and they have to put to a location. So, as I tell you this morning, people that are protesting, people are free to go to Ojota. we also support them, but we are not heading to Ojota.
We have actually seen some people also having a counter-protest, talking about how they don't want this protest to hold at all. Yeah. What does that actually speak regarding what Nigerians are now talking about and their demands as regards this present administration?
Well, protest is a civil right, and the right of everybody to protest. But you will agree with me, as we have seen on some of the media and social media clips, that many of these people were actually paid. We saw a video of a woman crying and complaining that they just brought her and they are not giving her the money and all that. So,
well, aside from that video, do you have evidence to the fact that people were paid to do a counter protest?
We have evidence that people were paid seriously to demobilize this protest.
And we also hear some persons did say, according to some interviews that we saw yesterday, the day before or yesterday, I can't remember now, someone saying that some persons were paid to join the protest. So are we seeing money go either hands to just make sure that what the government is saying, more like trying to unseat them at this point?
We are mobilizing people across all the local governments, and we are not paying anybody to come and protest.
All right.
I have not seen that video.
Okay, let me come back. Let me come back to studio now. We have Lawale Kundayo still with us in the studio as well. Now, still talking about the convergence. Now, you did say something that you and your friends are going to meet somewhere around the Ikeja.
Yes.
This morning.
Yeah, well,
but we also know that the Take It Back movement have said they will converge at Alausa this morning. How do you think this will play out? Having in mind that Alausa and Ikeja Underbridge, or where
Ikeja Underbridge
is not part of where the court said you should go to. What do you think will happen when people converge in a place that is not part of where the courts have instructed that protesters should gather? Don't you think that would instigate the police to want to crack down on protesters?
Like me, I'm protesting on my own. You get it? I'm protesting on my own, and nobody served me.
Well, when you say you're protesting on your own, we understand that some days back, some individuals, some young men, stood by the roadside with placards, and they were picked up. They were arrested. They were protesting on their own.
Why? No court can convict them. They only want to victimize them and create some kind of fear in the mind of those that want to come out. That is what they want to do. If I want to protest, am I served? No. Nobody served me now. If you serve some people that they should go to a Freedom Park, those people can go to Freedom Park, but I'm not served, so I can go anywhere and do my protest.
Are you part of the Take It Back movement?
No, I'm not part of the Take It Back movement. I'm part of
Did you write? Did you write to the
Why do I need to write to authority that I want to complain? If I want to cry on the street, do I need to write to the authority that I want to cry on the street? I'm hungry. You get it? And I frown my face as a sign of protest. Do I need to write to government that tomorrow I am going to frown my face across the street because I am hungry? It's as a sign of protest. People will look at you are smiling, I'm not smiling. This is a sign of protest now. I'm already protesting. Do I need to write to police that I'm not going to smile? You get it? While I'm going, because I'm not happy, I am protesting.
All right, let's speak to victimization.
It doesn't make sense.
Let's speak to victimization.
It's a way of creating some kind of fear and shock for the people, so that the people will not be able to come. And like they said, from Ikorodu, you want somebody to trek from Ikorodu down to Freedom Park and trek back. You want somebody to trek from Epe down to Freedom Park. So during that trek, if you meet somebody on the way, what are you going to do? You get it? You avoid that person because all of you are protesting. Before you know, there will be a procession. You get it? Across. So it doesn't make sense. That ruling is faulted from the moment it is declared.
Okay, now let's come back to you. Now, at this point, we've seen videos of some persons going to the marketplaces and warning the people there not to join the protest. And that in its own is another level of protest, but the government seems not to be interested in all of that. What do you make of this level of creation of fear, as some quarters have stated it right now, as against this protest?
It was not even a warning, it was a threat. Thugs that are lawyers to the government of APC in Lagos and Federal went around some markets to threaten people not to come out to protest. What we did was that we pointed that to the CP, we pointed that to the IG, that why have you not picked up these people? You are saying you don't want violence in a protest. Some people are already instigating this violence to show your seriousness that you are really interested in peace. You should have picked up these people. But the IG did not. In fact, at the meeting that some of the lawyers had in the IG, they pointed this out to him twice or thrice. But we tell them that you see all those threats and all that is not enough to cow Nigerians. Nigerians will be harmed. If you want to come out and say people should not go out and protest, it's still your right. You are free to do that, even though we still see it as arrogance and see it as wickedness, despite the pain of people. But when you are putting threats into such, you should be picked up, should be arrested. We are not threatening people to come out now. We are not saying you must come out. If you not come out, we'll come to your house and do something against you. No, we are saying come out peacefully and state your demands. We are not saying you must come out. That's what they are doing. But imagine if we turn it all the way around, and we that want to protest are saying if you don't come out, we'll come to your house. The police will have picked us up.
Okay, let's go back. Let's go back to Chukwuma Okoro now. We know that in Kano State, for example, the governor has said that there is information that certain individuals want to hijack the protests in Kano to cause insurrection, cause unrest in that state. And we know what's been going on in Kano State. Actually, the tussle going on in Kano State. Don't you think there should be reason for caution in all of this around Nigeria now, not just in a particular place?
Moses, there's a need to be cautious, not just in Kano, but all over the country, because what is happening in Kano, apart from the tussle for the Trajectorians too, is also happening in every other part of the country. And what is that? That is hunger. That is frustration. That is deprivation in the midst of the opponents of the leadership. So the governors and their security handlers, they are quick to have information about when people want to attack public or when people want to attack the protectionist regime. But they don't have that information when bandits or terrorists want to strike. So it is difficult for me to understand why we have this kind of information, intelligence that is one-sided. The intelligence always comes when they want to attack government properties or the people in government or to cause mayhem for the government, but they don't get information.
No, but the Kano State governor actually did say politicians are behind that one in Kano State.
The politicians are behind what?
The possibility of hijacking the protest. He stated categorically.
That is what I'm saying. Let's not isolate it to Kano. Politicians are behind it everywhere. People who are feeling fat from the covers of government, from the tilts. These are the people that are sponsoring anti-protest protests. It's very clear. It's not just in Kano. It's everywhere. So the governor is the governor saying that I don't know what does he want people to do. They should fix the problem in Kano. If there's a problem, they should fix it. They should not scapegoat the people who want to protest. Right. It's as simple as that. And I said it is not isolated to Kano as a state. It happens in my own state, my state, Abia State. The governor has come out to say there is no need to protest, despite the fact that there is hunger in the land. And I ask, what have you done to ensure that you push back the hunger in the land? That is the appropriate thing to do, even at the federal level.
No,
people have
Mr. Chukwuma Okoro,
people have made demands.
From this,
people have made demands
from your.
Sorry, Fina, let me land.
All right, go ahead.
Sorry, Fina, let me land. People have made demands on government, and what is that demand? The demand is that look, revert to the old price regime. That is, bring back the fuel subsidy and fight the people that are the problem with the fuel subsidy regime. Incidentally, as the federal government removed the subsidy, we are meant to understand federal government is still negative in the payment of fuel subsidy. So who is fooling you? They're asking you to cut down on the cost of governance. What have you done? They're asking you to sell off the presidential fleet, part of the presidential fleet. What have you done? Joyce Banda, when she was president of Malawi, had two. She didn't sell them out. She sold them out. Yeah, what do we have? We have a president acquiring more aircraft into the fleet when Nigerians are hungry. Make the demands, scrap the office of the First Lady, look into the issues of insecurity, releasing Nnamdi Kanu. If you have used political solutions to address other insecurity issues, why can't you use that to address the issue of Nnamdi Kanu?
All right, Mr.
All of this, what the government is telling us, like Ababio did say, that in Niger Delta they have provided some kind of funding for 10,000 youths.
50,000 naira for 10,000 youths.
How many million?
Okay, Mr. Sheson, I said 50,000 naira for Niger Delta youths, 10,000 Niger Delta youths. That was what was given out yesterday.
Yeah, okay, yes, for 10,000 people.
Yeah.
Out of a population of how many?
Maybe 20.
Right, Niger Delta has 9 states, and you single out just 10 people. And these are the 10,000 people, sorry, these are the 10,000 people that will come out to say, oh, this government is doing well. Please let us give them more time. And you have rent-seeking partners of this government, people like Asari Dokubo, people like Tompolo come out to say, people who have billions of contracts, for the protection of oil pipelines come out to say, no, it is too early in the day to protest against this government. This government is just 1 year old. This government has been in office for the past 9 years, the APC government. And because you have a contract that runs into billions of naira, you ask us to wait and have patience. For how much longer are we going to be patient?
Mr. Sheson Okwade, we have the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Akume George, talking about how Nigerians should please calm down. In his word, he says that the present administration have actually done a lot for Nigerians that does not really require for us to embark on this protest. He pointed out something. He said that when the fuel subsidy is gone statement was made, that President Bola Tinubu made available 5 billion naira for all the state governments. Yes, and he also talked about the increment of the wage award, 35,000 naira wage award, and now we have 70,000 naira minimum wage act signed into law. And these were the things he said Nigeria should look at for them not to embark on this protest. And we also have the bag of rice. We also have the grants also that was made available for SMEs and for Nigerians and all that. Now, do you actually think Nigerians really still need to embark on this protest, looking at all this that George Akume have pointed out?
It's good when you rate yourself before they start rating you. That's the secretary to the federal government speaking on their perspective. Fine. Money were released to states, palliatives were given, but we've asked the question, how many people have access to some of the things that they have done? Truth be told, I've been an advocate of saying less concentration on the center. So much was disbursed to the states, but we seem not to be talking to those people in doing what they are supposed to do too, before we come to the local government, who are the grassroots. But what the SGF is saying is just to defend themselves, which to us has not gone far. When you talked about you sharing, like what my brother said, sharing 50,000 to 10,000 people, what is the percentage of the people that you have actually satisfied? We've said, stop this issue of fund transfer, palliative of sharing foods, and create an enabling environment. Those 10,000 people you are talking about have creativity in them. Look at exploits that an average young guy is bringing on board with those dynamics that he has in them. But this innovation dies because there is no enabling environment. Create access for them to have, access to soft loan that can equip them to do what they need to do. Some people cannot even make good business proposal. Can you enhance them in such a way that you will unnect the brain in them? Look at the developed climb we are talking about. Go behind the scene. It is African youth you will see doing exploit over there because they have a system that works. We are not beggars. The way the government are treating us, it's like we are beggars. You come out to say you've given 50,000 to 10,000 people. What impact will that create when they don't have access to good road? There is no access to water. If you have a youth that stays on band A in South, that is giving that 50,000, and he actually wants to develop something on his own, it's not enough to buy credit on his prepaid meter if he has one for 2 weeks. How are we going to address some of those things? The cost
of living is pretty high. The 70,000 we're talking about, you know my position, that I've not been an advocate of saying increase wages. No, create an enabling environment in such a way that businesses can grow. I can grow more on my business. Then other people can come into limelight to contribute their quota to the bottom line. Then we can create more employment. This increment that they have done, that the Senate president is saying that if I have a driver, I should pay himself, not correcting the impression of the National Minimum Wage Act that states that it's only scheduled for people that have staff strength above 25. You are saying that even if you have a driver that is one, you must pay 70,000. When even your own salary as an individual has not been increased.
Interesting.
You're talking of minimum wage. Do you know the ripple effect? So somebody earning 30,000 before, we now go to 70,000. So somebody on 70,000 before now, we now go to about 140. So somebody on 300,000, we go to about 500 or 600,000. On businesses that are not growing.
All right then. Okay.
Instead that we want a situation where the government will create the enabling environment, bring the indices.
Creating an enabling environment.
Borrow money because of this interest rate that is over 30-something%. Which business are you going to embark on to actually have that to contribute to the bottom line of the people?
All right then. Now let's come back to the studio. Now let's come back to Oni. Well, I cannot help but not notice your look, which seems to be fashioned after Wole Soyinka.
I get that. I'm also like
he's on his head to get white.
But it's not sure. Yeah.
All right then. Now let's talk about Chukwuma did say something earlier. He talked about actions and reactions. The actions of Nigerians is causing a reaction from the government, whether or not the protests go on or not. Now, would you see that as a success? Is that a measurement of success? That's one. Now, let's also look at what government has been doing in the past 1 week, or in the past 2 weeks. We've had minimum wage being signed into law on Monday. We've had bags of rice being sold for 40,000 at designated places. I would like you to marry that. I would like you to marry that to what Lagos did during the OJ Eco case, and how that panned out. Do you think that there will be success in that area? And they also did say that the reason they didn't announce this earlier was so that some people don't hijack it. And one wonders who are these people that would have hijacked it. Okay, let me just leave it at that so I don't give you a barrage of questions.
Well, like you said, immediately the protest was announced, the government started running up and down and doing so many different things just to find a way to probably demobilize the protest. That is an input to Nigerians that you don't have a government that actually wants to work. You don't have a government that really actually cares about the people. So if you are going to get them to work, you must be radical. You must speak to their faces. You must come out. It's democracy. Power belongs to the people. Use your power. Speak. Use your voice. And they started doing all these little things. Yeah, those things can be fine, but they are demands that the people are requesting for. And these demands, if the government work on these demands, it will lead to the real total turnaround and transformation.
Talking about demands. Some have said the demands are just too many. How about streamlining it to maybe 1 or 2, and that way you know that you are hitting the nail on the head, as against having a lot of things there.
The demands are not many, just 15 of them.
The president has over 40 ministers. If he look at those demands, he can 50. He can break it down to the different ministry. Okay, this is what you work on, this is what you work on. He has senators, he has House of Rep members, they have House of Assembly in different states. So 15 demands are if you look at those things, they are things that a serious government can handle in less than 2 weeks. But the truth of the matter is, what we need to concern ourselves is the fact that we don't have a government that really wants to transform society. That is the problem. So you could find a way to make back the rice 40,000 for the past 1 year, and people have been suffering all this while. So you could make minimum wage 70,000, which is unacceptable actually. In this economy that we are, you can convert it to dollar and see what it's paying. The 30,000 of 2018 is better than that 70,000 if you really understand the economic situation. It's unacceptable, but you could do that. You waited until people started requesting for protest. But when you look at those demands, what are they saying? They're saying reverse the fee hike of children in the schools. So so that their parents can have money to take care of other things. When you are using all your salary in a month to pay the school fees of one child.
We have the VC panels now making plans that students will start paying 80,000 naira electricity fees, also universities.
Can you imagine? So you see, oh God, where are we going in this country?
All right, now the government did make mention of all of the things they've done. In fact, yesterday, the governor of Lagos State did make a 20-minute broadcast where he reeled out some of the things that have been done by this government. Now, my question would be, at this point, the youths and the protesters are saying that let's end bad governance.
Yes.
But some quarters within the government are saying, you are not giving us enough time. Do you also share those thoughts that not enough time have been given? That's on one side. Secondly, the Lagos State government did make mention of the Eco Cares palliative that they've been doing, where you come with, they flash the amount of things to buy. Now, on that hand, they are saying that they've done so much to help alleviate the sufferance of the people. The CP of Lagos, as at some days back, also did mention that the citizens that would want to protest will be protected. But as of this morning, we have it on good authority that tear gas were being thrown at them around the Ogba-Ikeja axis. Now, the question would be, why is the government on one part saying this is what we've done and we're asking that you give us more time, and then on the other hand are doing something different? Why do you think all of this is playing out?
From our experience with this kind of government, the APC government, when people are agitating or making demands, they play all their cards. The intimidation cards, the buying of people card, using the police to intimidate the card, trying to give you some little, oh, okay, let's take this peanut and calm down card. You know, those things are just to demobilize people, taking them away from the demands. The Nigerian police are actually really not interested in protesting protesters. We have to force it on them and remind them, 2 different public publications, 2 different meetings, 2 different tweets, that this is your duty. This is why taxpayer money is being paid with your salary. You understand? We have to remind them. So they don't want people to come out. So the intimidation has started by the police. You can see them. Even military came out. You saw them at Dokwemu, at Agege, going around like we're in a war zone, just trying. They were blowing siren overnight just to prevent people from coming out. In a democracy, in fact, that is the first failure of itself. If you are in a society where you cannot have a proper peaceful protest, where citizens can be protected, that is clear failure. Then on the part of the Lagos State government, we are in Lagos. And I can tell you that all the whatever they are doing, it is not even reaching 1% of the population. See, we should need to stop all these handouts. I take bag of rice. Hey, take small cup. Say, take 2 cups. Take care of the necessary issues. The people will be fine. Nigerians can take care of themselves. If I can tell you that Nigeria is one of the most, they don't need much from you.
What are the necessary issues? Do you think reversal of pump price of fuel is something that can be done?
Major. It can be done. It can be done. How did Buhari, even though it was terrible, maintain the 146? What happened? Then all of a sudden in 1 week, it doubled. And now it's 1,300, 700, 800, depending on where you are buying. When they bring these things down, everything gets better. What about the security situation? Why can't people go to their farm? Because they are being attacked in their farm. We cannot undo ordinary cows.
All right. Let's come back to Lawale Kundaya now. I'm still going to ask you the same question. OJ, you saw how it went. There was stampede. Some people died.
Yes.
And now government is saying, look, we have designated centers to come and buy rice. Well, you have said, why is the focus on rice? But do you see this succeeding, really? And is this an answer to the prayers
I was there
of
twice.
some Nigerians?
I couldn't buy anything.
Oh, you went to buy?
I was there twice now.
You went tried.
I was there twice. I couldn't buy anything.
But is this some sort of answer? Is this like an immediate answer to the prayers of Nigerians?
No. See, you were asking. I wanted to answer that question.
Go ahead.
Respond. When you said the demands were too much, 15. I am telling you that this demand is not too much. Many of these demand, if you solve one, it will solve 5. You get what I'm saying? If you solve one, it will take care of 5 of the demands. So you may not do more than maybe 3, and then strategically it will solve the whole 15, even more than that. For example, Why do we have 4 refineries in Nigeria and none of them is working? And government is voting money into that refinery every year. And then we have Minister of Petroleum in that area. And then we have the head of NNPC Limited. And the 4 refineries, you are voting money into that place. You are voting money to maintain it. You are voting money to pay security guard. You are voting money to pay workers in that place that is not working. Throughout Buhari time, 8 years, it didn't work. And you keep voting money into that area. You keep paying staff in that area. You keep paying security people in that area. You keep paying maintenance, and it's not working for 8 years. The same government is doing that, and the government is saying subsidy gone. If you take care of that, it will solve so many problems. Like 3 or 4 problems will be solved. If you take care of security, it will solve over 3 or 4 problems in that area. You get it? If you take care of if you reduce cost of governance, you get it. You structure it down to, now you are talking about minimum wage 70,000. Why not have a minimum wage for all the political office holders? You have minimum wage for them. The moment you have minimum wage for them too, you get it. It will solve so many problems. Government will have money to run around. Government will have money to do so many things. So if you solve just 3, it will take care of more than 20 problems of Nigerians.
Mr. Oni, I will actually ask you this because as a unionist, we have the story of the police deactivating improvised explosive device in Lagos State. What does it really portend ahead of this protest that Nigerians are planning for today?
Is it not a bit funny that on the eve of protest they are deactivating bomb? There's no, like, my issue rep tweeted that it's false. There's no raw fact that was. They now said details later. What's details?
So are you of the opinion that even Buteko telling us that the right to protest actually lies within us as citizens?
Yes.
And now with this issue of deactivation of the bomb somewhere in Lagos, is it like he's just making a statement, or what do you actually make of that?
It's just to prevent people from coming out. That's what I see.
We've actually heard some people saying that there have been a series of gunshots in Owerri in Imo State since yesterday.
There have been violence. There are a lot of insecurity in this country from the time of Buhari to the time of Tinubu, and this government, same APC government, have not solved that problem. It's not because of protest. It has nothing to do with protest. There's insecurity in the land. We all know, and they are not solving the fundamental issues. And part of those demands are what to solve that fundamental problem: restructure this country for better security. This security apparatus is not well structured. When you do a proper restructuring across board, it affects everybody. Everybody will know what to manage, what to panic. But no, you don't want to do it. So you keep on holding on to things that are. It's like these politicians are happy that there's insecurity in the country.
Okay, let me come back to my virtual guest now. Chukwuma, I'm coming to you now. I'm going to take it slightly away from the protest now, but still related. While Nigerians are clamoring for good governance, clamoring for things, government seems to be on a borrowing spree. We saw that very recently, government was eyeing another loan, another World Bank loan, and then just yesterday, there's the upping of the percentage that is accrued that government can borrow from the CBN when it comes to ways and means. In fact, the proposal was for 15%, but then it was 5% initially. Proposal was for it to be moved up to 15%, while some others are calling for it to be brought down. But eventually, it's been taken to about 10%. And ways and means is even what part of the things that Godwin Emefiele is still dealing with, how he handled ways and means. How do you think this government intends to solve some of these problems genuinely?
Sir, Moses, the fact of the matter, the truth of the matter is that this government came unprepared. Quite unprepared. Because if you look at every step they have taken since they assumed office, you see that you just discover that they are running from pillar to post. It is a method of trial and error. Let us examine yesterday's approval of the 10% for ways and means. What is ways and means? Ways and means is that the federal government can borrow money from the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Yeah.
At a point, it turns to printing of money like Buhari and Emefiele did. Now, what is the guiding spirit of this? The guiding spirit is that the CBN can give you not in excess of 5% of the total revenue of the previous year. Now, what happened yesterday? There was a motion on the floor of the House during plenary that the thing be moved to 15%. After back and forth, they settled for 10%. After the minority leader, Kinda, had said that they should reduce the ways and means to 2%. And when the thing was put to vote, people in support of 10% were less than those supported 5% or no action on that motion. But what happened? Ben Kalu, the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, gave it to those against in utter defeat to the wishes of majority of the members of the House of Representatives. And what happened? What happened was that the opposition parties, members of the opposition parties, staged a walkout from plenary. And at the end of the day, a third reading was forced on the floor in the absence of members of the opposition, and the motion was passed, the bill was passed into law, and within the assent of the president. The problem is not borrowing. The problem is, what do you do with the borrowing? Now, if you borrow, what that means is a loan. If you borrow, you are supposed to pay back. But what have they been doing? They securitize it and turn it into treasury bills and bonds and convert it into local debt, increasing the debt profile of this country, of this administration. What are we into? We were on the road to Venezuela before, but now I think we have even passed Venezuela. I don't even know where else we are going to. So, Moses, it speaks to, for the members of the opposition to walk out, speaks to a growing discontent even among the elites. There is what we call factionalized elites. The elites are becoming factionalized. You see people who were previously in support of this government backing out of it, saying, no, things cannot continue in this direction. And the moment an elite becomes factionalized, when they lose their consensus, what happens? It boils over. You see, there is always this invisible friction between we and them, those on this side and not those on the other side. And when these frictions are not modulated and are allowed to spin out of control, what we'll see happen is the current events, the current happenings, as is trying to happen in Nigeria, as is happened in Kenya and in other parts of the world, where people ended up taking good governance by force. That is what is happening. So this government is quite insensitive. The annual budget is 27 trillion. As at June, the government had already borrowed 24 trillion. And you are jacking up the ways and means from 5% to 10% instead of reducing it, where you don't even have the intent to pay. So what does that tell you? It tells you that this government is direction. Sorry, these ways and means was declared, Cardoso declared an end to ways and means on the 10th of February this year. He said, look, the Central Bank of Nigeria is not willing to give money again to the federal government of Nigeria until such a time that they have paid up what they're owing us. 5 months down the line, there's an increment in ways and means from 5% to 10%. It even tells you that the economic team of this government, the economic team doesn't know what they're doing.
Mr. Sheson,
confusion everywhere.
All right. Mr. Sheson, as a chartered accountant, we have the issue of ways and means now here again. This administration actually blamed the former president, Buhari, about how he actually deep hands into the pockets of Nigeria to pull out the ways and means. The National Assembly said they're actually probing. But here, 2023, our GDP stands at 375 billion naira at per capita of $1,700. And this actually plunged Nigeria to be the fourth or even the fifth. I'm talking about the economy now in Africa. And here we have some part of the House of Representatives talking about increasing the ways, that's the power of borrowing money to 15 or even 10%. And yet, the President Administration have not even told us what we did with our 27 trillion naira budget allocation for 2023. What does really actually talk about as regards our economy in Nigeria?
It's quite simple, Fina, and that speaks to inconsistency, insensitive on the part of the people that are leading us. You see, the major problem we have, it's about the genuine intention of the people at the end of affair, sticking with what they promised that they would do. Like Honorable Okoro said, it's quite disheartening that the people you have at the end of affair do not even understand the intensity of the hardship that people are actually going through. When you say you are borrowing, as a finance person, what we first ask is give, breakdown of how the last expense you made. It's just like coming to my account department as a small medium enterprise I belong to. We gave you a loan to go and execute a project, and you are coming back to me to say, Oga, the 1 billion you gave to me, please, I need additional 500,000 without retirement, possibly up to like 70 or 80% of what you have used that funds for, verified by our audit department. I keep asking the question, where is the Auditor General of the Federation to verify some of the things that we're doing? These are areas we need to plug into. I am always saying that borrowing money is not a problem, because when you borrow, you would have actually planned on how to repay back those money with some of the documentation you would have given. But who monitors the activity to say, sir, you promised you borrowed 1 billion and you promised to pay back within the next 2 years? We are not even seeing traces after 6 months of returns on some of the things that you have paid. That is indiscipline on the part of the government, and it's quite shameful that we are increasing the way and means that even the minister said they are not going to venture into. That way and means has gone. But we are seeing the other arm of the government, which is the legislative, increasing that to 10%. What are you borrowing for? We are not borrowing to fix our refinery. We are not borrowing for infrastructure. I can tell you, the agony several people passed through in the last few days with the telcos on the blockage of some of their SIMs. Ask me, the telcos will tell you that their infrastructure is good, but having an handshake with the porter from the federal government when it comes to NIN is the issue. And Nigerians are suffering. We've seen instances of people that have actually linked their NIN still disconnected. How can we continue in this manner and you don't allow people to voice out? You see, inconsistency on the part, and I think that's an area the president needs to focus on.
All right, we'd like for you to quickly
energize everything that is going on. Not one person talking from one side and the other person talking from the other side.
Because of time, we'd like for you to give us your concluding thoughts, so we don't, we don't lose you in the process.
Okay, I will conclude by saying that the government on their part should be sensitive to the plight of an average citizen, and the area of concentration is to give the business owner, the SMEs that have collapsed, the leverage at which for them to operate, because they are the one that can employ people and mediate between the poor and the elite, so that we can grow this economy.
Okay,
otherwise,
thank you very much.
if you just be the high and the low, and we'll keep having reoccurrence of these protests and engaging government much more.
Some have
than
said
what
the
they
next
can bargain
protest
for.
will not be announced like this. Well, thank you very much, Jason Kwadi. Thank you for your time. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, let's quickly take concluding thoughts from Chukwuma Okoro as well. Chukwuma, you are in Enugu, but we hear that in Port Harcourt, people have started gathering at the Pleasure Park, gathering for the protest, regardless of the words of Mujahid Asari Dokubo. Let's get your concluding thoughts, so you can, chime in on that as well.
Moses, like I said, I'm within my area. My area is a kind of secluded area. After this program, I'm going to venture out and probably give feedback later today or tomorrow. Then about Port Harcourt, I think what Wike needs to do is to leave Abuja and go back to Port Harcourt. That's his fault, and ensure that the people don't protest. Because he is the FCT minister and the mayor of River State. So that is what I expect him to do. Moses, my concluding thought about all these things is, what is happening is, our circumstances, in life are nothing but the product of the choices we make. We have a choice. The government has a choice to do good. And the people have a choice to respond in a manner that the government brings. If the government becomes responsible and irresponsive, the people become more assertive in their demands. It's as simple as that. It's a matter of choice. So the choice is before the government to do good or face the wrath of the people. It's as simple as that. That's my concluding thought.
All right. Thank you very much, Okumo Okoro, a journalist and a public affairs commentator. We appreciate you for your time and your thoughts as well.
Thank you very much, Moses. Thanks for having me.
All right, now let's come back to the studio. Well, we see that regardless of the advice or threats by religious leaders, traditionalists, and politicians, Nigerians are still, going out to protest. But then we're talking about safety now. We know how NSAS was succeeded. There was a lot of social media activity. Just the other day, Nigerians got angry because their lines were bad. They may not have been related, but then maybe due to distrust, you're laughing already. You think they were? You think the
our UBA account was blocked? You think about movement.
Our UBA account?
Yeah, think about movement. UBA account was blocked by the government just because of this protest. And the EFCC also said that they are investigating other protest sponsors' accounts. So none of this thing happened by coincidence. Why at this time? It should have been blocked many weeks ago, but they just want to frustrate Nigerians and get them occupied.
Some will say you gave too much time.
In
canvassing for the protest.
Every protest has its modalities, advantages and disadvantages. When you give too much time, it will give you time to also plan, also give time to also mobilize. But yes, you give the government just no time. But it doesn't matter whatever the government is doing. You just organize and hit the street. So a protest can start immediately. Just announce one day, we start the next day, like happened in Ghana, or it takes time too. So as the build-up started October 1st. It didn't start October 8th, but it was almost like 8 days or 6 days interval. So all protest modality does not matter. What matters is the government being responsible. And so far, they have not shown responsibility.
So you have the opinion that organized protests actually work better instead of the impromptu one, as seen in some other clients?
The impromptu protest has its great disadvantage. Because, first of all, when people are hungry, a lot of people don't think they can start doing what they're not supposed to do. And we used to advise people, the infrastructures are not the problem. You don't have enough infrastructure. Stop hitting places or breaking cars. No, that's not the issue. Focus on the demand. So when people just come out their mouth and there are no leaders that are experienced to lead them, maybe they are hang up somewhere, it takes some time for them to gather and say, okay, man this place. But when we organize and plan well, everybody know where everybody will be, we manage the crowd.
Well, this protest has largely been described, the protesters, the organizers have largely been described as faceless. But I can see you.
You can see me.
Part of the organizers.
You can see me. I've been protesting this country for years. We are not faceless. And Nigerians are not faceless either. Because 200 million people cannot come to your studio does not mean those 200 million people are not important. You cannot expect every Nigerian to say, oh, I'm the one. Oh, I'm the one. Nigerians are demanding, listen to them.
What do you make of the fact that some quarters in government has said that this End Bad Governance protest is about toppling the present administration? What do you make of all of this?
Nobody can topple an administration that is working. And Nigerians are not coup plotters. We have had people that are coup plotters that later become president in this country. Those are the examples that we should be using, not using Nigerians that just want a better life. I can tell you Nigerians are the most content people. Just do the minimum, the barest minimum. They will be hailing you. It's not because of all the past politicians that we give examples were not corrupt in a way, if you know their history. But they did some things, like a whole lot of free education. We are still pointing, I had free education in Ogun State for 6 years. When I pay 1,000 naira for sportswear, education was free. That was our logo, and we are still pointing at it. What do we get from this government of today? That when they gave us, infrastructure, housing in this country.
You don't think the government is just, still new in office?
They are new.
You don't think they are?
We didn't wait for a year before we started protesting against subsidy against Jonathan in 2012 because that subsidy removal was biting everybody. In 1 year, people have died, people have suffered, healthcare, a lot. People have left this country, sold all their property. So 1 year, in fact, in 2 months, we should be demanding from the government.
Mr. Lawal giggled while that question was asked about how is it not so sudden for Nigerians to start protesting?
I don't know why they keep saying that. I don't know. If you employ somebody to be in your office, you wait for 4 years for the company to something to be done. You have your vehicle is 40. You wait 4 years before the vehicle will start working. The moment you pay somebody, you expect its result at the moment. I don't know why.
In that regard, I'm tempted to respond.
No, wait.
You wait for 6 months before you confirm the person.
No.
This is government.
At that moment,
that is supposed to
you will confirm. Excuse me. If you put somebody on probation, if you put somebody on probation, that probation means your performance within this period will decide whether we'll continue with you or not. Is that not the meaning? Is that not? So if you give somebody 6 months probation, that means you are saying within this 6 months, you want to see whether you are capable to continue or not. So if you give this administration 6 months, then after 6 months, we'll evaluate whether you are to continue or not. Now, excuse me.
My analogy is, if you are drawing that comparison, that's an individual for an organization. But now we're talking about an individual serving a nation.
Should we have? The Bible says if they give you one, you cannot manage it.
3 years.
How can you manage more? You see, I'm an educationist. I'm an agriculturist. You get what I'm saying? I will tell you that in 6 months, yams, crops. There are some crops that are supposed to have flooded the whole country. You get what I'm saying? If you know your people are hungry and they need food, you have to calculate. Okay, I have a long-term crops. I have a short-term crops. I have a medium-term crops. Now, let us do so within this short time so that we will first of all flood these people with this crop so that they will keep quiet at that moment before the medium-term crops is harvested, before the long-term crop is harvested. Are you going to wait for 4 years before you start feeding your people? Corn is 4 months, my brother.
It's interesting you mentioned the agricultural part of Nigeria. There was a contract that was signed by this government with the Brazilian government to bring in trucks to help with the farmers mechanize farming. Do you think that in any way has been visible when it comes to agriculture, owing to the fact that Nigerians, farmers in Nigeria, are yet to return back to the farm because of insecurity? Do you think that's ever worked?
See, importing from Brazil mechanized tractors.
Over 3,000 of them.
Counterproductive. Go to India. India fabricate their equipment, their tools. Go to China. You get it? They begin to fabricate their own. You keep saying you want to import. When you import, you have to teach them how to operate it. Some of them cannot operate it. There's no parts. If you fabricate, that's why we have universities of agriculture. You have agriculture being taught in College of Education. You have agriculture being taught in Polytechnic. You have agriculture being taught in secondary school. Now, what have you? These people are capable enough to develop everything that Nigeria needs for us to be self-reliant. Why are you importing?
All right. Well, let's take responses. We have some responses on YouTube and other social media applications. Let's take responses, and yes, let's see what Nigerians are saying. Ola Dewale, who is not in Nigeria, by the way, is in the Atlanta. He says, "Good morning, guys. Greetings from ATL."
There's one from the top.
Pardon?
There's a comment from the top, from White Lion. He mentioned going back.
No going back.
Bad governance.
Hashtag end bad government. Okay. And then Oladewale, Ijoba Nkparo. Ijoba Nkparo, Adájọ́ Nkparo, Ọba Nkparo, Ọmọ Nàìjíríà, Àgàgà irọ́, Nkparo fún rọ́ gbogbo ẹ̀ lórí irọ́. Okay, please help me.
Okay.
Help me interpret.
What does that mean?
Ìjọba Nkparo, that means the government is lying.
Everybody is lying.
Adájọ́ Nkparo, that means the judges are lying.
So basically,
everybody is lying to everybody.
Okay.
Oh, okay. That's what Nkparo.
Okay.
Nkparo fúnrọ́.
Oh, yes. There are other
there's another one there.
How long will the Abuja given to 10,000 youths end? That's also from Ola Dewale. Government creates an enabling environment. Nibo ni Nigeria.
Where is Nigeria going?
Okay, where is Nigeria going? Irolo, lie upon lie. Do you know that many of the career politicians are having their jets on standby? Okay. Ifem Evezi says tyrants and dictators never listen, they rather go down fighting. All right, Oladewale still said there, it is obvious that the career thieves are uncomfortable and are making terrible errors in managing disputes. Ephraim Evezi also said, welcome to the era of civilian dictatorship, sponsored by BAT. That's bad.
Due to time, I don't think we actually will be able to take all of these.
Quite a lot of them. Oladewale also said, is it a rocket science to have good governance? Anyways, before we wrap up this conversation, I'm going to come to you, Oni. This whole process is presently ongoing. In fact, we hear that in Port Harcourt, as we speak, somewhere in Treasure Park in Port Harcourt, amidst the Saido Kubo's directive that nobody should come out to protest, like everybody wants to, we are seeing protests going on.
The governor that he is.
Even in Abuja too, people are already coming out.
In Abuja, quite a number of persons are protesting. Do you think that this protest would have any? Yes, it's in the national stadium, and in Port Harcourt, it is the Pleasure Park. Okay, that was corrected by my producer there. Now, do you think this protest, in any way, is going to have any significance as it goes by the days?
Definitely. Even from the announcement, you can see that they are already G-trained and finding to look for a solution, even though they are not sincere enough. So it's going to have many significance.
Is it 10 days not too much?
It's not too much. It depends on them to fulfill those demands so that people can leave the street. It's not too much.
In other words, you're saying that the demands have to be
met before the people leave the street.
Stop.
And I can give you the information now that they have arrested some people at Badagry. And we are calling on the Commissioner of Police that you should release them immediately. This is the fundamental human right of people. You are preventing people from going to the location. At the same time, you are saying Ojeta is the location. Whereas you are blocking the road. They block some road. Even soldiers are blocking the road towards the Ikeja. So you don't want people to move and still you are giving a location for protest. All this hypocrisy needs to stop. But definitely it's going to have a significance. One of the first significance is to let us remind these people that we are in a democracy. And we are not going to allow any civil military regime to continue to cower Nigerians. And the demands that people are requesting for, they must get it. Tinubu should not think that you just be in government and be jelly-crane and enjoying himself. 1 year they have bought SUVs, they have bought yachts, they have bought plane and all that. But 1 year is not enough to take care of the life of Nigerians. It's unfair.
Interesting times. Well, I'm still going to come to you before we just wrap this up in some seconds. You just did mention about the fact that 1 year is not enough. It's more than enough, I beg your pardon, to correct all of the issues. Now, as it stands, Nigerians are at the receiving end. Do you think that with all of the body languages of the government as concerning restricting movement, do you think that Nigerians who are not joining the protest will not be suffering in any way as the protest goes by, particularly when it comes to movements of both humans and goods and services?
Well, when there are locations to protest, all you just need to do is to plan your movement and also join the protest. We are doing this for our common good so that in the next few months, in the next few days, everybody can enjoy the real benefit of good governance. So all these little discomforts, some of them are part of, are we not getting discomfort already? Healthcare is terrible. Our students cannot pay their school fees. People are paying 300,000, 400,000 for school fees, when it's not even a private university. So all these discomforts are there already. Insecurity. The other day I was traveling from Ibadan. A cow almost killed me. Cow. Because cows are moving aimlessly on our road and government cannot control things. So we are discomfort. So if people say, because I have to move from here to here and there's protest, let's bear some of these things together. But plan your movement. The protest has locations, it has base, so that you can go to wherever you want to go. And it has a time scale too. It's 8 to 6 p.m. So from 6 p.m. the roads will be getting free. And I was coming here now, the roads are even free. That's one of the funny things. When they are called for protest, the roads are always free. Because some people will lock their shops, some people will stay inside and all that. But we are telling Nigerians to cower the fear, come out and demand for better. This is their country. We are not going anywhere.
All right, let's get your concluding thoughts down.
One, I'm encouraging people to go out for the protest because from there you get enlightened. You get it. You get enlightened how things are, how they were, and how it's supposed to be. So you get enlightened. You have people, you meet experts, you begin to analyze with people, you understand a lot of things. Your mind becomes better. Then second, how long does it take to repair to put a refinery in good shape? How long? Does it take 10, 20, 50, 100 years? Even to build a new refinery. So this is why if you want to put it in place, if you start within 3 months, the refinery will start working. And this government is in office for more than a year plus, and you are still telling us that it's not enough to evaluate. You get? And you are voting money into these refineries. Is it abandoned? It's not abandoned because money is going there. It's just it's not productive. So how long? Now, if you know that you can't trust Nigerians to do it, then bring experts. Is expert not working in Nigeria? Bring experts to take over this refinery. You get it? Make it work. So we have experts, foreign, maybe Russia or maybe Britain or US or China. They will come into the country, take over this refinery, make it work, run it for some time for us. You get what I'm saying? And let it, like Dangote now, in Dangote refinery, how many, is it not foreigners that are running it?
All right, and unfortunately, we are out of time for the show. I don't think we can extend it beyond this. I wish we could, but unfortunately, we have to go right now. I must say a very big thank you to you, Ayoyinka Oni.
Thank you.
Comrade Ayoyinka Oni. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And big thanks also to Lawale Kundayo. We appreciate you for your time and your thoughts.
To be here.
All right, I'm Moses Humphrey, wishing you a beautiful day. We'll keep our eyes on this one. And of course, VOP will keep you updated on everything happening on the streets of Lagos.
And then from Fino Kichukudu, enjoy the rest of your day. On top of the hour, 9 a.m. is the news update on Voice of the People television. Do stay with us.
Well, David Edwin saying, do have a beautiful day ahead. But most importantly, to the people going out to protest, be very vigilant and, of course, be very aware of your surroundings. And to the federal government, well, just like our analysts have majorly said, if Dangote Refinery can come up in less than a year plus, our refineries can do better. God bless Nigeria.